Have you ever witnessed a moment on live television that completely turns the tide of public opinion? Imagine sitting down to watch what appears to be another routine political debate, only to have your expectations shattered by a response so unexpected, so bold, that it leaves the entire nation in stunned silence. This is the story of that moment. A moment when Barron Trump, a young man known more for his family name than for his own voice, stepped into the debate arena and completely destroyed his TV host in a live debate that has now become the talk of America. It all began on a brisk autumn evening when a popular cable network decided to air a special live debate featuring some of the most controversial voices in today's media. The stage was set in a modern studio bathed in dynamic lighting and high-definition visuals. The host, a seasoned liberal commentator known for his provocative questioning and sharp tongue, was ready to grill his guest on the pressing issues of the day. Little did anyone know that this particular episode would not follow the usual script of predictable political banter. As the debate kicked off, the host wasted no time in launching into his characteristic barrage of questions. He questioned the policies of the administration, he criticized the establishment, and he even took jabs at the Trump family legacy. His tone was both challenging and condescending, as he seemed to relish every opportunity to poke holes in the arguments presented by his guests. But then, the focus shifted unexpectedly when he turned his attention to Barron Trump. The host, with a smug expression, asked, "Barron, given your privileged background and limited experience in public life, do you even understand the issues that affect everyday Americans? Or is your role in these debates merely symbolic?" For a split second, the studio fell into an eerie silence. All eyes were on the young man as he listened to the host's provocative words. In that pause, you could almost feel the tension radiating from the set, as if time itself had slowed down to mark the turning point of the debate. Barron, who until now had been mostly quiet and reserved, leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the host. His face, usually unassuming, now bore the mark of someone who had been pushed to the brink and was ready to break the silence with words that would echo through every television in the country. "Let me ask you something," Barron began, his voice steady but carrying an unmistakable edge of determination. "When you criticize someone for not having the same background as you, do you ever stop to consider that perhaps the very differences you mock are what make us stronger?" His words, simple yet loaded with meaning, caught the host off guard. For a moment, the host's confident smile faltered, and the audience, previously caught in the host's rhythm, began to murmur in surprise. The debate quickly turned into a battle of wits. Barron continued, "I may come from a different world than you, but I have been raised with the values of hard work, resilience, and fairness. While you sit behind your polished questions and rehearsed lines, I have seen firsthand the struggles that many Americans face. I have listened, learned, and I am here to represent those voices." His tone was both respectful and defiant, and with each word he dismantled the assumptions that had been so carelessly thrown around earlier in the debate. The host attempted to regain control, but Barron's response had struck a chord with the viewers. "You say I'm unprepared, but let me remind you," Barron continued, his voice growing even more confident, "that true understanding does not come solely from a privileged education or a famous name. It comes from listening to the people, from working in the trenches, and from having the courage to speak up when it matters most." The words, delivered with the conviction of someone who has grown tired of being underestimated, rippled through the studio. In that moment, the audience realized they were witnessing something far greater than a simple debate. It was a revelation. Every word from Barron was like a ripple on a pond, spreading outward and leaving no doubt that his perspective was not only valid but vital. His argument was not based on rhetoric alone. He cited personal experiences, talked about community initiatives he had been involved in, and even referenced statistical data that highlighted real issues affecting millions. America, he declared, is built on the idea that every voice matters. And if you think my background is a limitation, then you are missing the point. It is our diversity, our differences, that fuel our progress. His passion and clarity resonated with the viewers, sparking a wave of support both in the studio and across social media platforms. The host, visibly flustered, tried to interrupt with a pre-prepared rebuttal, but Barron's momentum was unstoppable. Instead of questioning my abilities based on my lineage, he said, "Why not focus on the issues at hand? Let's talk about what needs to be done to improve our country. Let's discuss policies, not personalities." With those words, Barron shifted the debate from personal attacks to substantive issues, forcing the host to scramble for a response. The shift in tone was electric. The audience, now completely engaged, hung on every word. Barron's unyielding demeanor and his refusal to be silenced transformed what was meant to be a one-sided debate into a dynamic exchange of ideas. Cameras panned the studio, capturing close-ups of astonished faces in the audience, as well as the host, who was visibly struggling to regain his composure. Social media began to buzz in real time. Tweets, posts, and live comments flooded in, all echoing the same sentiment. Barron just changed the game. As the debate wore on, Barron's responses grew even more incisive. He delved into topics such as economic inequality, healthcare, and education with a clarity that belied his age. "We must invest in our future," he argued passionately, "by ensuring that every American, regardless of their background, has access to quality education and healthcare. The challenges we face are too big to be solved by name or legacy alone. They require genuine understanding and collaborative action." His words painted a picture of a future where every citizen had a stake in the nation's progress, a future that was inclusive and fair. The turning point of the debate came when Barron was asked a final question that many considered a trap. "Do you think you can really influence policy when your experience is so limited?" In response, Barron leaned forward, his eyes blazing with resolve, and said, "Experience is not measured by the number of years you have lived, but by the lessons you have learned and the actions you take. I may be young, but I have seen the impact of policies on real lives, and I have a vision for a better future. My voice, and the voices of those who have been ignored for too long, deserve to be heard." The studio erupted in applause as his words reverberated across the airwaves. The debate concluded with the host visibly defeated, unable to counter the raw authenticity and well-reasoned arguments presented by Barron. In the post-debate analysis, pundits and commentators alike were left in awe, many admitting that they had underestimated the young debater. News outlets clamored to get interviews, and social media platforms lit up with hashtags celebrating his performance. Barron Debate and Voice of the Future quickly began trending, cementing the moment as a turning point in political discourse. In the days that followed, Barron's performance became a rallying cry for a new generation, eager for change. His fearless display of intellect and passion challenged long-held assumptions and inspired countless young people to speak up and get involved. The debate was dissected on every major news channel and online forum, with experts praising his ability to articulate complex issues in simple, relatable terms. Some even compared his performance to that of seasoned politicians, noting that his fresh perspective was exactly what the country needed. Behind the scenes, Barron reflected on the debate with a mixture of relief and determination. He knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges and skepticism, but the experience had solidified his belief in the power of honest dialogue. Today was not about proving myself to anyone, he later explained in a brief interview. It was about opening the door to a conversation that many have long avoided. I want people to see that change is possible when we are willing to listen, to question, and to work together. The impact of that debate extended far beyond the studio. In classrooms, community meetings, and even boardrooms, Barron's message ignited discussions about the importance of youth participation in political discourse. Activists and community leaders cited his performance as evidence that true leadership comes from the courage to stand up for what is right, regardless of one's age or background. His words resonated deeply with those who had felt marginalized or dismissed by the status quo, inspiring them to take action in their own communities. For many, the debate was a wake-up call, a reminder that the future of America depended on the willingness of its citizens to challenge outdated norms and demand accountability from those in power. Barron's groundbreaking performance was more than just a moment of personal triumph. It was a catalyst for a broader movement aimed at reshaping the political landscape. His response not only left America in shock, but also ignited a spark of hope that reverberated across the nation. The legacy of that live debate remains a powerful testament to the idea that every voice matters, and that change is not confined by age, experience, or circumstance. It serves as a reminder that sometimes the most transformative moments come from the most unexpected sources. Barron's fearless stand in the face of condescension and prejudice has become a symbol of resilience and determination, a symbol for a new era where ideas, not titles, define the leaders of tomorrow. As the nation continues to digest the events of that unforgettable evening, one thing is clear: the landscape of political debate has been irrevocably altered. Barron Trump's response on live TV has set a new standard for how young voices can challenge the established order and demand a seat at the table. It is a moment that will be remembered for years to come, a moment when one young man's bold words broke down barriers and inspired a generation to believe in the power of change. What would you do if you were in his shoes? How would you confront a system that seems determined to dismiss you based solely on your background? Barron's remarkable performance invites us all to reconsider what it means to be a leader in today's world. It challenges us to rise above stereotypes, to listen to the voices that are often silenced, and to work together for a future that is fair, just, and inclusive. In the end, the debate was more than just a clash of words. It was a demonstration of the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity. It showed that even in the face of relentless criticism, the truth can shine through, and that every challenge is an opportunity to prove that you are more than what others expect you to be. And as the echoes of that live debate continue to inspire countless individuals across the nation, one thing remains certain: the future belongs to those who dare to speak up, to challenge the norm, and to lead with integrity and passion.